everybody, welcome back to E20 Zone TV. I hope everyone's having a very good Wednesday. Euro 2024 preview. Is it coming home? We do hope so. To my right is Matt, down there is Jamie, and we're here to talk about England. Can they get it done or not? Matt, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks, man. I'm looking forward to it, and it is coming home. Just going to answer you right now. It is coming home. But listen, thanks for having me on, man. Cheers, yeah.
No worries at all. Jamie, how about yourself?
I'm good, thank you, mate. Yeah, happy to be on the show again and talk a little bit of England. Historically, whenever I talk about England on the internet, it's when we're being knocked out of a tournament or if we're not playing very good football. So it'd be interesting to talk about England in a positive light for once.
Yeah. Right, let's get into it. Euro 2024 contenders. Who are the serious contenders for this competition this year for you, Jamie?
You look on paper, I think the bookies have. I don't want to be that arrogant England fan, and like anyone that's not English and is going to be watching this video will be saying, "Oh, it's the English getting above their stations again." But I think bookies are putting us as like 3-1 to win the tournament at the moment, and
yeah,
there's no surprise when you look at the quality of the squad. We've got serious quality all across that team. So I think we're in with a genuine shout. It's just whether we have the mentality to do so when it comes to the final moments of the tournament. And then outside of that, obviously, you've got France. You've got King Killian, the coldest of his name. Obviously, he's going to be wanting to bounce back from the World Cup a couple of years ago where he lost in the final. And obviously, he's got just got the big move to Real Madrid. So I think France and England are the two front runners, in my opinion.
For me, before I hand it over to Matt, yeah, I think what it is with England is they've built themselves up to a stage now where they think that they're going to win it. And I don't feel that they're just there. I just think France are just that team that just know how to get the job done. I think Germany being the hosts, they always turn up, especially at home. They're gonna have the home support. Spain, Portugal, is it going to be Ronaldo's final hurrah for them? Like, do you know what I mean? It's Portugal ain't a bad team for a dark horse. Matt, what are you saying on it?
I'm kind of like Jamie. So one of them, England I think they are favourites, only just over France. I think it's between them two. I feel like Portugal's the one that people need to kind of keep an eye on. I feel like if you look at Portugal's squad, it's quite decent. Rafael Leao, they've got João Neves, the guy that's at Benfica. They've got good players in that team. Bruno Fernandes is playing well. I watched them. I think they're playing Finland in the friendly yesterday. He performed well, and they look decent. But I just look at England. I know people say we always say it, but this team is just simmering at the right time. And you look at the players we have in the squad, all of them are in good form. You know, sometimes, previous managers will pick players based on their name and they won't even perform to the best of their ability. But just look at our attack, mate. We look at Jude. We look at Cole Palmer. We look at Saka. Your guy, Jared. I've got to chuck him in there because you're West Ham fans. Harry Kane. That literally, our attack going forward is phenomenal. And I feel like defensively, we are all right as well. We've got to decide on which players to kick out. I think Maddison's one, which Tottenham fans will hate me for this. I don't think he should go. And I feel like we've got a very, very good chance. Like our squad is very good. When you look at it, we've been performing well in tournaments. You know, we beat Colombia in that World Cup. We got to Croatia knocked us out. Then we had France knock us out. So we're getting there. And I just don't see anyone other than maybe France or Portugal beating us. But to be fair, France can be beaten. They're not as invincible as everyone thinks. Right, they have Kylian and Mbappe, but they're not that good. I'm not saying not that good, but they haven't performed as well as people, have expected in most tournaments.
Can I just add one thing as well? I think, like, obviously, this question becomes obviously increasingly difficult. I think, like, in terms of predicting a winner, because with the expansion of the tournament, obviously, this is the first time it's being rolled out. Knockout football is all about moments. So there's an extra knockout stage that can, change the course of a team's tournament. You got you go back a few years ago, obviously, like, I don't think Portugal won a group stage game at Euro 2016 and then ended up winning the tournament, and now there's an extra round of knockout football on top of that. I think at Euro 2020, Netherlands top scored in the group stage. They won, do you know what I mean? Won every game and then got knocked out by the Czech Republic in the round of 16. So it's just, with the extra round of knockout football, it adds so much excitement to this, but it makes it so hard to predict a winner. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. For me, I'm a bit skeptical in England because I think England are the sort of team that they self-destruct in big moments. Like, and when you look at the big hitters like France and I'm going to say Germany, even though they're not the best, but Germany used to get it done years ago, like, and especially on home soil, they're like that. With England, I think defence is a bit of a problem. Like, that is the only thing with England. I think the front six, Deck, uh, Payne, Foden, these players can get the job done. Yeah, but can our defence handle world class attacks? That's the $1 million question. Like, I don't think they can. Like, who would be your starting pair really for the first game? Like, is it Maguire? Is it Braithwaite? Is it Stones? Jamie, who is it?
Well, it's all about who's fit and who's playing well. I think, truthfully, it's super difficult. Obviously, the full squad hasn't even been announced yet. If it was me, I would probably go with a John Stones alongside either a Konsa or a Maguire, or maybe bring a Kyle Walker inside to play alongside a John Stones. I think I don't like when you especially in tournament football. I don't really like rotating defenders, but I pretty much had an identical conversation to this before the World Cup last time and the Euros last time. It's about why is Harry Maguire going to play? Why is Harry Maguire going to play? And then he comes back, like he goes to the tournament injured, comes into the side, and then he's one of the players of the tournament. It's just, I think there's something about Harry Maguire in an England shirt where he just overperforms his ability. So I have got faith in Harry Maguire, and then alongside that, it's probably just John Stones or Konsa, I think.
About you, Matt, what you saying for two centre halves?
Exactly the same. I feel like Maguire, he gets his bad press because of his club form, but for England, he never lets them down. He's the same as Pickford. Pickford for England as well always performs very well. Stones has got to be the partner next to Maguire. I don't think you should change them two. I think Kyle Walker has to be there though. If Maguire's there, Kyle Walker has to play because we need somebody, when the ball goes over the top, Harry Maguire ain't got the speed. Having Kyle Walker there is amazing. Again, we don't know how Gareth's going to play the defense, but Konsa's around there. Konsa's definitely around there. I think Brandt for waiting that is kind of like, it's maybe a tournament too early for him to start. But yeah, it's got to be Maguire and Stones.
So what has England got to do in this tournament different to what they've done previous? Because obviously they've been close, very, very close. And a few years ago, they was inches away from glory. Like, Matt, what have they got to do to win this competition this time around on German soil?
Listen, it's just score goals. Like, genuinely, like, but it sounds silly, but in these tournaments, we talk about a solid defense. That's fine. But Jamie alluded to it earlier about its moments with these tournaments, and the Harry Kane pen over the bar missed. Play in Croatia, the World Cup. If he had squared it to start, like, it's the little things. It's just scoring these goals. Because up to the final in Euros, before we lost to Italy, we performed very well. Knocked out Germany, performed very well. Like, it's just, we need to just score goals, because I feel like with the midfield and defense we have, we go 2-0 up in a game. We're not letting that go. That's just how I see it. I feel like with us, when it's like 0-0, it's level towards the end. You think, go on, put us out of misery. Something's going to happen. Like there's Giroud when he knocks us out, in the last tournament. So I feel like it's just to score goals, and that's it, really. We've got players that can do it. We can go and beat teams 3-4-0. I have no doubt about it. But when you do play the better teams, you have to tweak it a little bit. You maybe not be able to, you can't be as expansive. You've got Bellingham might have to drop back deeper a bit. So, there's things that you've got to change. And can we do that? I think we've got the nous now. Honestly, this is the first time where I feel like we're going to do it. Like, I'm putting my neck on the line. We're going to. Trust me.
Jamie, what you saying? What's England got to do different?
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at Gareth Southgate and like kind of the views of him post-tournament over the last few years have always been that he's kind of played with a kind of defensive structure, and he's played with the handbrake on to kind of protect our weaker defense. And I think we've all got the same kind of questions going, questions ahead of the thing, like in terms of his pragmatic style of football and how he's, he plays with the peace of mind of being super, super defensive. I think what's different now is, the stats speak for themselves over the last few tournaments. I think we've conceded 12 non-penalty goals across 2018, 2022 and the 2020 Euros. So it's like, it's worked in the past in terms of us getting to the latter stages of tournaments. It's just been in those final moments where we have faltered. I think what's different from those tournaments is has been the emergence of so many top world-class players. So you look at like Harry Kane, for example. Obviously, he didn't win the league this year, but he's just had his best ever goal-scoring season in the Bundesliga. You look at Phil Foden, Premier League player of the season. Jude Bellingham just won a Champions League, was voted the best player in La Liga. You know, West Ham, England have like assembled this squad now that are very much Cole Palmer, for example, in his debut season, just got 20 in the league. Like, there is so much talent in this side where it feels, even if we do play a kind of defensive style to kind of protect that, England have the kind of players to just break down anyone. And I just think we just need to rely on our creative players going forward and also protect that backside. The back line, I should say, not backside, Jesus. but you get my point anyway.
I understand what you're saying. I think the front six is very, very good. I think there is little chinks in the arsenal of like basically the defensive side of things. Right. I think Declan Rice, I'm going to mention him. I think him being in there, if he's fully on it, then we've got a player who can recover the situation from box to box. I think his midfield partner is going to be interesting to see how they go with him. Are they just going to allow him be in the DM, or are they going to have someone with him? And listen, Foden for me has been special this year, extremely special. And if he continues going the way he's going, he could bring it. He could bring it home because he's that special of a player. Obviously, Bellingham is a player that he gets a lot of hatred or heat for some reason from people. Well, I don't know why, because I think he's a really nice lad. But if he turns up, then we've definitely got a chance. But there is a question for you, and it's this: what's this man going to have to do? Because Gareth is under severe pressure now not to get this done, because he has to get it done or he's going to be out of the job. What are you saying, Jamie, on this with Southgate?
I mean, I think win or lose, I think I can see this probably being his last tournament. I think there were some people calling for his head after the World Cup and how he exited that tournament. But yeah, to be truthful, I think whether he wins it or lose it, he's going to be either leaving on a high or leaving on a somewhat low. You do look at we've seen it before. We're all old enough to have seen the England golden generation and how they flashed and whatnot. And it feels very much similar to how we have like a world-class level squad. Granted, we don't have the centre-back options, but I don't think anyone in the world really does. Do you know what I mean? There's not really many world-class centre-backs in world football at the moment. So I think Gareth Southgate will be looking at this tournament as, this is the one he has to win. And I feel like fans, a lot of England fans are seeing that as well. And it's reflected in the bookies. There's even like Opta are using like supercomputers to predict tournament winners, and England are coming out on top of that as well. So I believe Gareth Southgate will be going into this like believing he can win this tournament for sure.
I think he's got a lot of pressure on him. I think he has got because the country expects that. Like for me, for you lads, we've seen it so many times over the years where we build ourselves up and then we get let down at the last. Now, this time there is no real excuses. He's got a team there that is full of top class players. Some of them are world class. So, Matt, what are you saying in regards to Southgate? What's he got to do to bring it home for us?
Do you know what? I just think don't overthink it. Like these type of tournaments, it's easy as a manager to think, I've got to adjust this. I've got to do. Like we've got the players there. We look at the squad. We have a good squad, and there's going to be other nations looking at our country, going, "My God, England's team are crazy." Because if you remember back in the day, we didn't have players that were experienced enough at big clubs to take us into these big tournaments. But now you've spoken about a Phil Foden. We've got Cole Palmer doing it at Chelsea. We've got Bukayo Saka doing it at Arsenal. We've got Rice at Arsenal, Bellingham at Real Madrid. You know what I mean? Like France always had that. Pogba when he was at Juve, Griezmann, Atletico. Like we're there now. So I think we're literally there. The pressure will be on Southgate, but I think it's going to bring the nation together. I feel like it's going to be a tournament where you remember Euro 96. Do you remember like everywhere you went, everyone was on it. England this, England that. I feel like this is going to be that tournament where people are going to be watching it here. People that you didn't think were really into football are going to be back in the nation this time. And I feel like we'll do it. I really, really believe it. And sometimes you've got to go for a bit of hurt before going and winning. You know what I mean? That's how it works in football. And I feel like we've been through a lot of hurt as England fans, but I really, really think this is the one. But like Jamie said, regardless of what happens, he will be gone. But it'll be very nice if he can at least win something and then go off. And where do you then rank him after that? But I'm going to leave that to you guys.
How do you want him to play? Southgate. How do you want him to approach these games? Do you want him to approach these games full throttle, or do you want him to be a bit more calculated? And because obviously it's a long old tournament, there's going to be many games. Like, what are you saying, Matt, on that?
It depends who you're playing. You guys might be able to remind me exactly who the group is.
Yeah.
But it depends who you play. Obviously, when you play your Portugals, your Frances, you can't play exactly how you would against, no disrespect, the Georgias or them type of little nations there. You know what I mean? Them nations, I want to see 3-4 goals. When you play France, it might be a case of, right, Jude, I know you want to bomb them, but in this one, they got Kante this time. That can you drop a bit? So stuff will have to be adjusted. So I don't know. I feel like this is the one who'll probably go for at the back. But again, what do you do with Trent? If Walker plays, does Trent go midfield? Do you keep Trent on the bench? Again, it depends on the opposition, because there are going to be some games where Trent, if you put him in midfield, he'll cook. You know what I mean? He'll do what he has to do. So you know what is? I don't envy the position Southgate's in, because this is not the golden generation, but we're close to having a golden generation. We go and win this, that's a phenomenal team. We go on, and then people look at it and be like, wow, it is a golden generation. So yeah, it's a tricky one. It just depends who we play. And I feel like the further we go on, it might be a bit more pragmatic. But again, like Jamie said, you don't change the back four. That's the bit you do not alter at all. No matter what happens in the tournament, you keep that. If you want to adjust the midfield, change up front, rest a few players, you can. But the defense is the main one that you want to keep.
What about you, Jamie?
Yeah, I hate discussions about like style of play, because ultimately I just care about the team winning or not. Like that. That's the bottom line of it. Like, there's a lot of like credence in what Matt said there in terms of like, you know, do you play Trent or not? I think that kind of question is answered by who the opposition is, and obviously Matt spoke about it there. Like, there's going to be teams where England are obviously in a group with Serbia, Denmark, and Slovenia. So, you know, going into that, you expect England to be top in that group. You're expecting England to be going into all of those games, getting the lion's share of the possession, and a player like Trent in a midfield like that, having the ball more, is obviously going to be more valuable than when we're playing like maybe a team that are on a more similar level to England, and it's more even possession, and there's more, you know, he's not as assured as like another midfielder would be, or another right back. So I think it's dependent on who we play. I don't care how Gareth Southgate plays. Truthfully, if he wants to adjust how he plays for each tournament, you know, I don't remember how Gareth Southgate played in the Euros last time. I just remember how he played in the final when we lost. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think I don't care how he does. I don't care how he plays. Just get it done, bring it home. It's been far too long since England have seen an international trophy.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate. Right, now I'm going to put you on the spot now. The best possible 11. Now, we're going to go for it together. I think we'd all agree that Pickford is probably in goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we agree on that.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the left back for you lads?
Probably Luke Shaw. I feel like Luke Shaw is probably the most solid left back that we've got. Obviously, Chilwell is also a good option. Luke Shaw has always done well in an England shirt. Obviously, we can't forget that he scored in the final against Italy a few years ago. So for me, it's Luke Shaw.
What about you, Matt? Would you say Luke Shaw?
Yeah, do you know what? A fit Luke Shaw, we don't have a better left back. Doesn't matter who's there. You know, Euros, the last one, scored in the final. He was fantastic the whole tournament. Probably our player of the tournament. So yeah, fully fit Luke Shaw. Yeah, he's left back, definitely.
Right, let's go right back. Are we all saying Kyle Walker or not?
Ooh, it's a different one. It's a difficult one. I mean, is this for the opening game against Serbia?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Probably. Let's go Kyle Walker.
I think it has to be, because we've got no pace at the back there, have we? Really? Do you know what I'm saying? That's one thing I want to say. What about you, Matt? What are you saying?
Yeah, it's got to be Kyle Walker. I said, as long as if Maguire plays and Stones, you kind of need to have Walker there. Definitely, you need his recovery pace.
Centre halves, would we all say Maguire and Stones? Probably the best centre half pairings. If there is anyone that was to come in, who would come in and who would they replace for you, boys?
I think it's either or, really, isn't it? I think in terms of who would be replaced, but I think the next likely person will probably be Konsa. He played obviously the last friendly game. He's had a great season with Aston Villa. I think Gareth Southgate likes him as well. So you probably you take out Maguire before John Stones, probably. I wouldn't mind either or, really.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. Right, so let's go into midfield then. So it's like 4-3-3. Who's the 3-man midfield for you?
Deckers, Defo, of
Yeah.
course, isn't it?
Declan Rice picks himself.
Yeah, Jude. It depends how he plays you. But if you're gonna do the three where you've got the base and you've got the two ahead, you do Bellingham. Now this is the third one. I'm not sure, but can I just say I watched Mr. Wharton, yeah, and
Good player, man.
when they first signed him, I remember Palace. I was like, okay, hopefully he plays for England in the future. But he was phenomenal. That I love nothing more than the midfielder when they get it, break the line pass, bang, bang, bang. But is it a tournament too early? But then sometimes, well, with a lot of these players, they don't gain experience until you start them in these type of games. So it's tough. It's tough because you've got Kobe as well. Do you play Kobe? Yeah, it's tough. I like Wharton. You know what? I'll just go with it. It sounds mad. I'll just put him in. Genuinely, I feel like.
Are you surprised how well he's sort of adapted? Because I'm quite shocked. I remember him at Blackburn, and one of the lads who's on this channel used to say to me, he's quite a decent player, James. Well, I don't know why West Ham ain't looking at him. Like, I am quite shocked how he's gone from Blackburn to Palace, and all of a sudden he's in the England squad, and he's quite a decent player. What you say, JB, on him?
Yeah, class. I mean, the stats speak for himself. You know, I think he finished the game the other day with like 100% passing accuracy after he was like the first player in a couple of decades to get that after attempting more than 30 passes. Like, yeah, he's hit the ground running. Has got serious quality. But there's still question marks as to whether he'll even make the plane at the moment. So I can't see Gareth Southgate starting him. But I do rate him a lot. I think he should be on the plane for sure.
Who should partner with Declan? So if you've got Declan Rice, who's the other two for you, Jamie?
Well, I think Declan Rice will probably be asked to do a different role to what he does at Arsenal. It'll probably be similar to what he used to do at West Ham in terms of he's much more of this defensive side of the game, and I can imagine he'll hold. Alongside that, you say, Jude, do whatever the hell you want, mate. Put him in the midfield, and then alongside that, you probably just have a box-to-box in like maybe a Conor Gallagher or someone like that. I think Kobe Mainoo could do that as well, but I'd probably go with Conor Gallagher just because it's the opening game of a tournament, a little bit more experience. So yeah, that'd be my midfield three.
Let's go to the strike force then. I think Harry Kane probably picks himself. Who's the two boys next to him for you, lads?
Foden, Defo. There's no if buts. Foden's got to be in there
on the left hand side, yeah.
On the left hand side, yeah, floating, yeah, Defo. On the right, listen, I'm a big gooner. I love my guy Bukayo, but I can't look. Cole Palmer's been phenomenal, and he played well in the last one as well. So I think it's a toss up between them two. However, Gareth sees it, and I don't know if Bukayo is going to be fully fit because obviously he's missed, the Everton game, missed. I think this friendly just gone, but it's between them two. But if they're both fit, Bukayo would probably start over it, but Bukayo, Foden, and Kane, mate.
Couldn't agree more. I think if to be honest, I'd change my team. If Palmer wasn't playing on the right wing and we've got Saka there, I'd play Saka. I'd bring Palmer inside and I'd put him where Conor Gallagher would be playing and a little bit more advanced, and then I'd bring Declan Rice a little bit back so he does really dial in on the defensive capabilities of the game. And I think Bellingham would then be box to box. He's played that for Real Madrid. He's played it everywhere for Real Madrid this season. So I think you'd have the midfield three of Rice, Bellingham, kind of box to box. On the left hand side, you'd have Palmer kind of floating in behind, almost like a false nine type player. And then the front three is obviously Foden, Kane, and Saka. I think you look at that team. It's like every one of those players gets into most sides in the world. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think that's our strongest 11. I'd say.
Just alluding to that squad that Jamie just said. Again, I do feel like that one's very dependent on opposition, because if you do go and play the better teams, that floating of Palmer, it might be too much to not have someone with Deckers in that type of position. You might change it and play. Do you know what? I need Gallagher to do what he does in that position. So, but having Palmer and floating with them three ahead, goals galore. 100%.
I would rather Mainoo for me. I would love to see him in this side. I think he's been brilliant for Manchester United. Like him and Deck together, I think would be plenty of energy. 100%. Is 4-3-3 the right system for England, or should England change it and go 4-2-3-1 for yous?
I like the 4-3-3. I like that.
Because I think Deck can cover the role. Like, we all know it. Like, you know it as an Arsenal fan, Matt. Yeah, me and Jamie know it as West Ham fans, that we've seen this player. He can cover the ground everywhere, and he's a sort of player that you don't do you really need three midfielders when you really he can do two jobs? Do you know what I mean?
Depends who you play though as well, isn't it? Because if you're playing
Yeah.
France, France would style you up. They'll have Kante, they'll have
Yeah.
Tchouaméni, them type
Yeah.
of players. Portugal will have Paulinho, Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah.
So you've got to then put the two. So yeah, against Serbia and them, Slovenia, I think you're good. I think you're good to.
But also on that, like obviously you talk about being a 4-3-3 and a 4-3-2-1. I think England would probably defend in a 4-3-3 and attack in a 4-2-3-1 anyway. So
Yeah.
if you've got your Bellingham and your Rice and they're playing more defensive, and then you have a Cole Palmer floating, he's gonna go central, and then you've got your two wing players. So it kind of will naturally attack in a 4-2-3-1 and then revert into a 4-3-3 to be a little bit more defensive, almost like a 5 at the back, really, with Declan floating in front. So I don't think the team would be too dissimilar to what you're saying there, mate.
I'm going to ask this because it's a bit of a mad question, but who is going to be sort of the first choice sub? Someone who's going to come on to sort of change the game for England? Because obviously we've got many subs on there who be looking to come on. You've got Trent, you got even Tony on there and people like that. Who's it going to be for you lads? Like, who are we going to call on the bench to come on and change the game for us? Game working.
Someone who's creative. I mean, like obviously he hasn't had the best season, but you look at someone like a Jack Grealish. He can obviously change games on his own. Obviously we haven't spoken about Trent Alexander-Arnold. Of course, he could definitely change a game. You know, Kobbie Mainoo, James Maddison, Ollie Watkins, and then even like a Jarrod Bowen. But it's just dependent on who actually gets on the plane. You know, Anthony Gordon. Who's to say he might even go? Do you know what I mean?
That's a shout, yeah.
Yeah, so there's Eze. Eze made his debut the other day. There's so many different like creative players that might not even make the tournament, but because we haven't got the final squad there, it's hard to say. But then that's without even mentioning Ivan Toney. So
yeah. Eze for me was very, very good the other day. Like, and I'll be very shocked if he's not on the plane. I like him a lot. Like, always have done. Like, I don't know about you, Matt, but anyone on your mind who you'd call upon?
Do you know what it's so funny. I forgot completely about Trent because obviously he's not in the starting level. You forget about him, but yeah, he would be the one. You know, you got a game this level. You need someone that gets the ball in midfield, and he can cross from deep. It's none of them. He's got to run to the byline and whip it in. He can cross from deep. We know how Kane peels off, scores a goal. So I think Eze is massive. I feel like for us to have a type of player that can play in the hole and just get the ball and run at a defense. Like look at that little segment against Bosnia when he got it turned, went, gone. You know what I mean? Like we need that. Grealish does it as well, but Grealish more does it on the side. So I think like an Eze Trent, someone that can like unlock a defense like that, like at the blink of an eye, and that's what we've missed. And talking about them players, it really makes you think this squad Gareth has got a tough decision to make, mate. Bowen, Gordon, there's a lot of good players there. A lot.
Right, I'm straight up the bookies. 200 quid on England. Here we go. Do you know?
Well, mate, you might get good odds. It's only 3-1. Do you know what I mean?
It's actually 7-2 though, JB. It's actually got out. It's 7-2 England at the minute. Yeah, so you know, I agree with everything what the lads are saying in regards to that 11. But we're going to come to this: who will win Euro 2024? Now, there is some good teams in it, as we've discussed. We're in it. Jamie, who's going to win it for you? What's your heart saying, and what's your head saying?
Genuinely, like my head's telling me that England can't win this because I've seen England like fail on the international stage for my entire lifetime. But you know, we've just waxed lyrical about all the kind of attacking options that England have. You know, the depth of the squad is ridiculous. Like we have to be believing that England can win this tournament. I think it's between us and France, and of course there's a few dark horses, but fuck it. Excuse my French. England are going to win it, mate.
For me, my heart is saying France. I believe that. I think my head wants England to do it, but my heart and what I feel is I think it's got France written all over it. I think what it is with France is they've been there, seen it, done it so many times. And when you look at their defenders, you take out Saliba's on the bench for them. He's been brilliant for Arsenal this year, right? He has, Matt, and you know that. And he's on the bench for them. And when you look at their midfield, and obviously having Kylian Mbappe up front, it's going to scare anyone to death, isn't it? Let's be real. I think England will go close, though. It wouldn't surprise me if England got to the final. It really wouldn't, because I think England are capable of doing it. But I don't know why. I just don't think they've got that killer instinct to get over the line. and be that champion that we all want them to be. Do you know what I'm saying? I think Portugal are a dark horse in this. Yeah, they always seem to turn up in the Euros. If Ronaldo is involved in it, it's going to be his last hurrah. Then that'd be him. As I said earlier on, Germany for me on home soil, you just never know, obviously, but they're not the same team they once were. Same with Spain, same with the Netherlands and all. Like a lot of these teams have all derailed and England have gone up. That's why I think we believe that we can do it. But if I was to sort of have a bet on it to a point, I would probably put my money on France. But I do think England can get to the final. I think they're good enough to get to the final, but are they good enough to get over the line in the final? That is, because let's be honest, since the Euros before, losing in that penalty shootout, that was painful enough. Yeah. Have England learnt from that moment? I hope they have. I really do, because I'll be like everyone celebrating. But have they learnt? That's the $1 million question. Matt, what are you saying on this?
It's coming home. It's definitely coming home. 100%. You know what? Yeah, you know what? We break down the teams. I think Spain are a couple of tournaments away from getting to where they want to get to. I think the Germans, they are on home soil, but again, they're just starting up their new project under Nagelsmann. I look at France. As I said, I think France are good, but I do think we're just that bit better than them. I think as our 11 can match theirs. It can match theirs. Like we have a quality 11. So I feel like we can win it. I think it'll be Portugal if we don't. I really believe it'll be Portugal if we don't. Because as I said, it's steady progress with us. I'd hate to bring my club into it, but it's kind of like Arsenal. We're simmering. We're going close. We've got lost in the penalty shootout. Cool, lost to Croatia. Like, remember the times we were going out second round. So we're getting further and further, and it just feels like this is the time for it. Good squad. Gareth, we know it's going to be his last tournament. It's going to happen, and we've got the team that can do it. So I really feel we're going to do it. So James, we're down the bookies, mate. Let me know, yeah. Let's go do it.
You know that I'm there. Right, who's going to be top goal scorer for you lads? Who do you believe?
That's a good one.
Go on, Matt. Mate.
Do you know who I feel could really do some damage if he turns up and plays the way and he's quite high odds at the minute? Yeah, it's Foden. Is Kane gonna? Because I looked at the other day and Kane's 5-1 to be top goal scorer. Yeah, and I look at him and I think he can score goals. Don't get me wrong, but is he going to be more creative with the players bombing around him, like Foden's and people like that, and your Cole Palmers and people like that? For me, I think Foden's not a bad shout. But, right, if England kick into gear, he scores goals. He's been brilliant this year for City. He would be my sort of dark horse for the England side of things. Obviously, Mbappe's in there. Lukaku for Belgium is going to be up there. Jamie, what are you saying on this in regards of like top goal scorer for you?
I think either Harry Kane or Nicholas Füllkrug. I think Germany are going to have a solid tournament. They got the, let's just say they've got the home kind of advantage. I think they could go far in the tournament. You look at the group that they're in as well. You'd expect them to top it. I think Harry Kane or Nicholas Füllkrug for me are the two top scorers.
What about you, Matt? What are you saying?
I think Kane, he'll get his customary penalty in the tournament, a couple of penalties in the tournament. But I think Mbappe, though. I feel like the move to Real Madrid, that's all settled now. He's going into this tournament like his club thing sorted. He's going to go in on a high, believed, you know what, we lost the World Cup final, but we're going to come back. We're going to do something to Europe. So I feel like he's got a point to prove. I feel like he's going to come on fire, like literally from the first couple of games. But yeah, I think between him and Kane, but Füllkrug is a good shout because Germans, listen, you never write them off. They're just so efficient, isn't it? So
scored lots of goals for Dortmund this year as well. That was important.
Yeah.
I just think that he'll be their main man, and I think I can see him going far.
Yeah. Let's hope not. Let's hope it's all about us. But gents, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on this afternoon, mate. Yeah, let's hope that England do bring it home. I think we need it as a country at the minute. Like the country's in a bit of turmoil. It's up and down consistently. But I remember a few years ago, before we wrap this video up, how the country was in like COVID, just coming out of COVID, and England played and everyone was bouncing. It's like we can get to the final again. Do you know what I mean? And obviously get over the line. But it's been an absolute pleasure having both of you on. Jamie, shout out all your stuff, man. And where I can find you.
Yeah, Jamie Talks all over socials. You can find me there on everything, guys. Yeah, thanks for having me on again, mate. Appreciate it.
No worries, Jamie. Also, yeah, I see your tweet earlier on. You're after England fans. Do you want to explain why?
Yeah. I am actually. I'm working for a company called Goal Click across the Euro, so I'm going to be covering fan coverage across pubs all across London. Going to do the first game this Friday, almost as a bit of a trial run. I'm not expecting many fans to be in pubs, obviously, because it's a friendly against Iceland. So I'm trying to get fans down to pubs so I can take a few pictures.
Yeah. There's always fans in pubs. 100%,
Free
mate.
beers, mate. Free. That's what I'm saying. I've got a bar tab to come down.
Yeah, listen, go and find him on Twitter, Jamie Talks, mate. Free bar. That's what I'm saying. Matt, shout out where they can find you, mate, and your podcast, bro.
Listen, I'm all over. Back of the Net podcast. If you can't find it, abbreviate it. BOTN podcast. Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. I'm around. And listen, thanks for having me on, James. Being amongst West Ham fans, and I'm part of you lot today. Yeah. So yeah, thanks for having me on, lads.
Yeah, well, you know, you're with us. We're all trophyless this year. It is what it is.
Hey.
Yeah, I mean, right, that's enough from us. Listen, let's hope England bring it home next week when it all starts. In Germany versus Scotland, that'd be a good one. And we'll see what happens there. Go and follow these guys. Go and follow Jamie. England fans, free bar. Go and find him. Anyway, from me to you, take care, and I'll see you again in the next one. A bush.